Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 online action. As you can see, I have taken the Skaven. We're going to be playing up against the Lizardmen, so definitely in for a wild fight with some beast races. I wanted to show off this replay for a couple of reasons. Number one is I've got 3 Poison Wind Globadiers, and these guys are absolutely essential in almost every matchup, especially against the Lizards. Of course, they have anti-large armor-piercing missile damage, and over 10 seconds they can actually deal out 28 bonus versus large with 36 armor-piercing, which is huge. They can burst down, a dragon or a dinosaur very, very fast. Very essential in this matchup. In addition, of course, Bonebreaker Warlord. We've got a unit of Storm Vermin as the last line of defense here, protecting this Warp Lightning Cannon. 2 units of Rat Ogres. We've also got a Warlock Engineer. He's got his Area of Effect Explosion buff, so you can see that's hitting the Warp Lightning Cannon, and those 2 units of Globadiers for some additional missile damage. We've also got the Musketeer. I've also brought on him this Warp Stone Armor, which is basically like a Mortis Engine debuff. It drains health of all nearby enemy units. Warp Lightning, and Doom Rocket. The front line is a mix of Death Runners and Plague Monks, with Clan Rats and Skaven Slaves out on the flanks. That's about it for my army. For my opponent's army, he's split his forces up interestingly to kind of get some cover from the woods to avoid the artillery fire from this map. We've got Saurus Warriors with spears. Same thing over on this flank. 2 Saurus Warriors with spears. He's got Mazdamunity way in the back here on Slock. He's got, let's see, Apotheosis, Ruination of Cities, Shield of the Old Ones, Banishment, Net of Ammontok, so fairly standard stuff. He's also got the Stegodon with triple gold chevrons, so this is one of the reasons why I wanted to show you guys this replay. You don't get to see these Stegodons too much, but they actually have a very interesting niche against the Skaven, and you guys will get to see that in just a moment here. He's also got 2 Skink Chiefs for 2 procs of Cold-Blooded, and yeah, that's about it. Let's go ahead and kick things off here. So I wasn't really sure what my opponent was doing just because I wasn't able to see these forces in the woods over here, but I am going to now get these Rat Ogres over here and spot them. So we're going to decide how to deal with them best. I'm going to dispatch this half of the infantry flank and just send them over here with the Death Runners and the Plague Monks together. I feel pretty confident that I can beat up on these Saurus pretty hard. So we're just going to kind of reposition the forces here. We'll go ahead and fast forward through this early stage just a little bit here. You can see I'm just scouting around with the Skaven Slave Spears, and now we're going to bring the Warlord over because I saw Mazdamundi is getting on the move, and potentially, we can get the Warlord in here to beat up on some of these Saurus. So we're just going to send the slaves in just to kind of poke and prod, feel for weakness. You can see the Warp Lightning Cannons opening up shots on the Skink Chiefs, just trying to do some damage before they, are able to use their Cold-Blooded. Getting some decent damage done so far. Over here on this flank, just continuing to let these Skaven Slaves just kind of fight it out. I was trying to decide what was the best way to deal with things, so we're going to be dropping a nice Warp Lightning in here. Gets a pretty decent hit on those Saurus Warriors, kills a few of them, but definitely going to need some more support, so my opponent's just poking away at the Skaven Slave Spears. Probably not the best target. This is kind of why I have them here, is just to be more of a meat shield, and you can see I've kind of got this almost V-like formation, so that the opponent's got to come into the center, and then I can kind of, take engagements piecemeal or as I want them, try and kind of dictate the pace of the battle. But, seeing that the rest of my opponent's forces are way over here on the other side of the map, I'm going to just go ahead and dispatch some guys to go into these woods here. We'll go ahead and fast forward just a little bit more. Now you can see the Plague Monks and Death Runners going to be coming into the forest along with this 1 unit of Clan Rats here, so the Death Runners getting in here, and although the Saurus don't have great armor, they do have 60 armor. Cutting it in half is going to be great, so then the Plague Monks can get in here and use their weapon strength to the full effectiveness. So now the Plague Monks coming in for backup, and these Saurus are going to start to take a ton of damage very, very fast. In fact, they're already rampaging. They're going to be going off this battlefield very soon. I brought over the Warlock Engineer as well to get the Warpstone Armor, kind of draining away at the hit points of all these nearby troops. We're also dropping Warp Lightning Cannon right in here. You can see a very nice lightning strike there. So my opponent casting Shield of the Old Ones and then casting Banishment right in this blob is potentially very good for him. The only issue is this banishment is going to kind of go off this way and not really hit anyone, so that's a bit unfortunate for my opponent. Meanwhile, over here, the rest of my opponent's force is just advancing, but this is what I wanted to show you guys in regards to the Stegodon. You see how it's skirmishing? It's already destroyed one of these artillery pieces, and because the warp lightning cannons have such big hitboxes, they're very easy targets for enemy artillery. So this ancient Stegodon with his triple gold chevrons is going to be very accurate. He's also going to have a very good refire rate. So although he will take some damage from the warp lightning cannon in return, he's going to be able to actually destroy all 3 siege pieces before I'm able to even use up half of my ammunition. So it's already looking rough. You can see, like, this one is destroyed here, and it's only a matter of time before we see another siege piece go down. Yep, you see that middle one blowing up there. So now we're down to only the 1 cannon, and this is one reason why I actually have been bringing prior to this game. You know, I already knew about this, but the Stegodon with the big crossbow on his back can outtrade the Skaven artillery. Same with the solar engine. So what I'll do is I'll put the Skink Chief up on the Stegodon because it gives him that nice bolt thrower. As well, I usually will bring a solar engine, so I can just trade out our Skaven artillery and then force them into, my engagement. But since my opponent advanced, we're going to oblige him by taking this engagement in the front line here. We've got Plague Monks and Death Runners marched up on Saurus Warriors. We also brought the Rat Ogres through to just deal a bit of shock damage, almost like using shock cavalry. You can see now, though, having to run away, we're somewhat losing this fight over here. My opponent had committed more resources than I did, but it's a very atrocious trade so far. You can see the Plague Monks are at about a half HP. The Death Runners, though, are almost gone. We've got the Bonebreaker dueling Mazdamundi over here in the jungle. And at first, this is going to go very much in favor of the Warlord, but as Mazdamundi gets his healing procs and, can potentially use some other spells to help buff himself up there. I guess he didn't really bring any spells that could help buff himself up, but it's going to be a very atrocious trade nonetheless. We're just trying to hold over on that flank. Meanwhile, getting these Globadiers to toss in their poison globes on the sides of these Saurus. They're not great against infantry, but they do have armor piercing, so they'll be decent there. Meanwhile, these 2 Skink Chiefs just really haven't been effective. They're just skirmishing over on this flank, really just shooting into fodder units. I sent what was left of the cannon crew after them because all 3 pieces were destroyed, as you can see. So the Stegodon pretty much did its job there, but if I were playing as a Lizardman in this situation, I would have just parked my forces kind of over here and just waited until I destroyed the cannon, and then I would have forced, the Skaven player to come towards me rather than sending my forces up, But still, in the main line, we're holding out fairly well. Going to be dropping another Warp Lightning right on this center pocket of Saurus. That's destroyed my frame rate there. That's going to actually rout them off. Meanwhile, over here, I'm trying to get away with the Bonebreaker because he's not exactly winning anymore, but Mazdamundi very wisely popping a net of Ammontok there. However, I'm going to pull over these Poison Wind Globadiers, and you guys have heard me say it before, man, you gotta respect the Globs. These Globadiers can do a ton of damage, and Mazdamundi's in a really bad place now. You can see volleys of globes coming in here, going to be doing a ton of burst damage to him. You can see he's, despite having been healed, he's already back down to about 50% HP. And going to be taking a ton of burst damage. He really does not want to be chasing. He needs to get out of this situation as soon as possible. But these Globadiers, he is going to be trying to drop a banishment on them, but we're just going to reposition. It is going to get a few unit models there, but nothing too substantial. We're just going to split my Globadiers, so we have one here, so he can't get on both of them at the same time. We've got the other one here as well. So with all 3 of these guys pitching their globes in here, even just one of them will do a ton of burst damage. But if I'm able to get even 1 or 2 to focus fire on Mazdamundi, he'll go down super fast. You can see Apotheosis there trying to heal himself back up. We're just using the Rat Ogres to continue to chase down routing Saurus, or enraged Saurus rather. I guess they're not really routing. But now that Mazdamundi's hiding in the woods, not really too much point in me trying to shoot him anymore with the Globadiers. The Stegodon has come forward, however, and is taking a ton of Globadier fire. I've got him tied up with the Rat Ogres, which is something they're very good at doing, and just unloading the Poison Wind Globes right on his face. You can see he's taking a ton of burst damage. Just look at that damage. Oh man, he's already way down. In a matter of about a minute, he's going to be off the battlefield. So, one dino taken care of, one more to go. So at this point, the Lizardmen forces are, going to just chain route rather than come back and try and fight. So, well played to my opponent. Hope you guys enjoyed watching that. A couple of interesting kind of scenarios played out there. So you guys saw how that Stegodon was able to take down the Warp Lightning Cannon. Granted, A Stegodon with triple gold chevrons is way more expensive than a Warp Lightning cannon, so I don't know that that's a super efficient trade. Granted, you can use it then in combat as a terror-causing, armored monstrosity. But my opponent just really didn't have a way to get on these Poison Wind Globadiers, and I think that's ultimately what cost him the game. Engaging piecemeal like that probably wasn't the best idea either. You can see my Death Runners and Plague Monks did alright that fought that engagement. The other one that fought the mainline engagement, both of them picking up a Chevron, 93 and 103 kills on mostly Saurus, which is great. That's just great. 40 kills on these Rat Ogres and a Chevron, only 29 here, no Chevron, but that's okay. The Warp Lightning Cannon mostly just got shut down by that Stegodon. But Poison Wind Globadiers carrying their weight, only 4 kills here, but a Chevron, of course, from bombing the dinosaurs. Skaven Slaves and Clan Rats you don't really expect to do much, so that was okay. And the Warlock Engineer, I noticed the kills from the Warp Lightning don't count towards his kill total properly, so that's not really accurate. But, he got some good work done as well. So, hope you guys enjoyed watching that. I sure enjoyed playing it. If you like this kind of content, like and subscribe. I'm keeping it coming with more Total War Warhammer 2 content every single day, so stay tuned for more, and we'll see you next time.